Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I'm excited for this video because I'm going to be testing out the Juno&Co Velvet Sponge. I have seen a few videos on the sponge and I was very interested to see how it worked and to just try it out for myself. They do retail for $6, so it's not a bad price at all, and they had free shipping. So I was able to go ahead and grab this sponge up for $6 basically. I didn't have to pay for shipping, which is a deal breaker for me. But I've seen a few videos on this and the overall general consensus is that it does work, and I feel like people are so amazed that a velvet sponge works that it's like, yes, it works, but what I want to know is how does it compare to a beauty blender? I am going to use the original beauty blender today just because it's, I mean, I just have it already damp. I have like 8 million sponges in front of me, but it doesn't matter. Just I want to know a regular sponge versus the velvet sponge, because sure, this may work, but if I prefer my beauty blender like over it, then like as cool as it is, like it's not necessary, if that makes sense. So I wanted to go ahead and do my foundation and concealer and test out both sponges in comparison with each other today. So I did already wet my sponge and it only grew about this much, not very much at all. I'd say like maybe like 2 centimeters. And it's soft, but it's like dense at the same time. Like some sponges are firm where they feel hard, and this is a little bit harder, but it's still soft at the same time, if that makes sense at all. Whereas like a actual beauty blender is like a lot more bouncy. This is supposed to give a full coverage. I think that's what it claimed to give. Does it say on here? Oh, no, okay. It says if you're looking for a more natural airbrushed foundation finish, this is your go-to. I think it says provides buildable coverage fast. Nikki Tutorial said that it applied really full coverage. And I did want to mention that some products on the Juno&Co site are not cruelty free, but their actual line is cruelty free. So no animals were tested or anything with the sponge. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation today just because I know how it works and it is medium coverage. Actually, I'm going to use a primer first. I'm going to use the Ofra Cool as a Cucumber primer that I got from Octoly. And I've just been testing this out and I feel like I'm really liking it. Oh, there's a little dot right there. Let's blend you in. It's very, very cucumbery, very fresh, and just super thick and hydrating on the skin, which is great for me because I have super dry skin. Man, I feel like I'm eating a cucumber right now. The chapstick that I used earlier smelled like caramel too. I'm like, man, why are all these makeup companies trying to make me eat food? Alright, so I'm gonna go in with just like, let's say 2 pumps of this foundation because those are pretty tiny pumps. And let me just see, I guess I'll use the velvet sponge first. I've got like hair everywhere, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on like the butt of the beauty blender and we'll try it out. Okay, yeah, that does look super full coverage. I'm gonna turn my mirror around so I can see even closer. I feel like you really do have to take kind of a minute to blend it into the skin, because at first it almost has like a little bit of texture because of the fibers of the sponge. But I think it actually looks nice. It is pretty full coverage. I can just barely see my freckles peeking through. I think it looks nice. I feel like I kind of look like an Oompa Loompa. Like this foundation is normally like medium coverage, so it blends into my skin better, but because this made it so full coverage, it's like obvious how much darker it is than my skin tone. I'm gonna go ahead and also, I wanted to mention that I feel like it didn't soak up that much product. Like I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that went pretty far. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same amount on the other side, and I'm just gonna go in with my beauty blender. I personally prefer the shape of the beauty blender more. I like the rounded butt, whereas this one is like kind of, it's like cut off, like it would sit perfectly flat on your vanity, which is nice. but I prefer like more of a round one like this. Okay, so I definitely think my Beauty Blender soaked up product a little bit faster. It used like every little last bit that was on my hand. Overall, I feel like the velvet side might have the tiniest touch more coverage, but honestly, the texture on the skin looks pretty much the same. The Beauty Blender side is a little bit more dewy. Both sponges are wet, but it translates more on the dewy side. It shows up more in the finish of the foundation, which is one of the reasons I love a sponge, is because it has a nice glow to it. So honestly, from doing foundation, I feel like they don't look that much different. Like, it's cool to try this out, but if you have like 800 million sponges like me, it's not necessarily necessary to try, because honestly, compared to a regular sponge, I don't think anyone would be able to tell that I applied my foundation with two different types of tools. So really quickly, I'm just going to go ahead and grab some of my Tarte Shape Tape, and I'm going to do concealer underneath my eyes and just see the difference. It feels super dry right there. Pretty good coverage. I feel like the velvet sponge is harder to like squeeze and get right where you want it to go. It's just like a more dense sponge. But that actually blended out super quick. That looks good. Good coverage. And then I'm going to go ahead and go in with my normal sponge. So weird. I feel like on this side the concealer looks more matte, and on this side it looks more dewy. I don't know why that is. I feel like the coverage is pretty much the same on both sides. I think it looks nice on both sides. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up my makeup, and I'll be back to give you guys my final thoughts. Okay guys, so I finished my face, and I did use both sponges to apply my powder, and I did not notice much of a difference. I think that my overall thoughts would be that yes, the velvet sponge does work. It applies your foundation really beautifully. It's definitely a different texture. It's cool, it's unique, but I would say that it really is not very much different, like the overall application from a beauty blender. So if you're kind of, you know, wanting to try something different, you want to try something new, then I don't think that you would be unhappy with the results of this sponge. But also at the same time, if you're trying to like not buy extra makeup or anything, and you're feeling a little bit of FOMO, like I want to try a velvet sponge, I honestly don't feel like you're missing out on much at all if you do just use a regular sponge. I honestly think both sides of my face look very, very similar. I think that they both look beautiful. If you guys feel a certain way, or you think one side looks better than the other, definitely let me know in the comment section, because I know that sometimes things can look different on camera. But overall, like I said, I like it, but I don't think it's a necessity if you already have, like, okay, you guys are gonna think I'm ridiculous, as many sponges as me. I definitely did not need a velvet sponge. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!